What I'm going to talk about next, the very powerful point at the front of Beacon Hill, that circle from those pictures at the front of Beacon Hill, that's a very strong centre. And you have both there continuously going off. You've got the chalice, it's right at the top, it's the higher energies for the chalice. It's also the higher energies for the prayer. So, and it's got both there. It's the top of the chalice, it's the top of the prayer. So it's got the male and female on the top of Beacon Hill, and it's got the high energies. And if you start from the back of Beacon Hill, which is the highest point actually, it's much darker and deeper. It's not dark, but it's darker and deeper than the front. And because, as you saw from the picture, it's like this finger going out, and you've got the energies coming up both ways to the top, where the ridgeway comes here. And then as you walk along, it's like those energies are coming up along Beacon Hill. And as you go forwards, there's nowhere for them to go. They're just going forwards until they come to this little circle at the front, and they just start to ascend. It becomes a natural portal for energies to leave and energies to come in, and there's this whole makeup of the whole site, and that makes that a very potent thing. And I loved the energy on top of Beacon Hill, and we should definitely go there and work one day. But you can't really see that circle unless you're looking for it. It's very low in the ground, and on the picture there's lots of buttercups which actually show it up, but unless you're actually looking for it, you won't see it, or unlikely to. And after that initiation of where it did just build up, there's this very orgasmic or explosive thing, and Chequers did just become a vessel, and I became a vessel with it. It was just really talking. I realised the importance of opening up through Chequers itself, because I held that as private and didn't want to go through energetically. But after that, whenever I was there, I would allow like my left arm to open up through Chequers. And then the site would start working, or it would start working with me. Because everybody's walking up to the top of Coombe Hill, and it's somehow okay. So that is there. But because there's men with machine guns here. But so I thought, well, no. The land, the earth is ours, and the earth wanted me to energetically go up there, and it wanted me to discover the site and work with the site and talking to me. So I would allow that, and as soon as that opened, then suddenly the site becomes activated, suddenly it's working, suddenly it becomes a vessel, and then if I just become aware of it, it just stops. So I became very aware that whenever I was there to meditate or to be with it, I needed to activate that left arm. And I'd sit up on Coombe Hill, looking across the Beacon Hill, and it'd be nice to meditate, and then I would let that whole arc open up, and then suddenly the whole site comes into play, rather than it being separate things. The whole site starts working down to the pond, up around Beacon Hill. It becomes a whole. It becomes a female and a male. And as I said before, I find it a little bit, well, not even strange, but that the whole female side of the site has been sectioned off with on-gods, and often within society the female side has been suppressed a bit, certainly in the past, less and less now, but still suppressed. But also within us, quite often, men and female quite often have their own female qualities held down. So it was kind of symbolic for me of that whole thing that's happened through the centuries, and generally within people, male and female. And one day I was sitting on Beacon Hill, just at the top, towards the front of Beacon Hill, just sitting, looking over to Coombe Hill, just meditating. And then I remembered, I've got to open up through Chequers. So I opened up through Chequers, and then suddenly you get this whole cup shape. You get the stem going down to where the pond is, and suddenly it's working. I suddenly feel the energies rising in me, and this left-right thing you're talking about, the male and female working together within me, and the center line with the kundalini rising and the higher energies coming down. It all just starts. As soon as you have that image of the chalice, that is what starts happening, because that is what it represents, and there it is in the land. And one of the reasons I'm making these videos and making this public is because even if we're not allowed on Chequers land, if people know the image of what is there, and then they're looking out and they hold the whole image, it doesn't matter if you're, well, it's better to walk on it, but it will start working just by having the whole image rather than just this. Just this doesn't really work. You need that for it to work. So as soon as you hold that image, it works. So I was sitting there and all this stuff is going off, and I'm looking over to Coombe Hill, and suddenly this thing going on behind me. I'm thinking, what? I just feel this, all the hairs on, well, I don't know if I've got hairs on my back, but on my back is tingling. There's this whole energetic thing going off behind me. You're right. You've got an energetic thing going on in your ear. Yeah. And I look around, I think, what is that? I look around, and there's that circle, and I'm sitting on the rim of the circle looking over to Beacon Hill, and it's all happening behind me. So I come to the back of the circle, so I'm looking north, and I just sit there. And I was amazed. I've never, I mean, maybe it's because it was around the solstice, and I think it was 2 or 3 days after the solstice. I think it was the day before I had the main activation from the Dell, and then it was the day after that, so I think it was the 2nd day after the solstice. Or again, that I hadn't worked with that, or it hadn't been activated for a long time. But there, and I've never seen it. I've seen one type of energy come down, or a higher being type energy come down. But there was like 12 or 13 truly transcendent wise beings just pouring down into the top. Just this, it wasn't like a column in the middle of the circle. The whole circle was this light with these beings coming down. And they were, it reminded me of Camelot a bit, even though I've never really thought of that before, but it was this spiritual guidance that was like for England or Great Britain or this land. And it was just pouring into the top of the hill and right down into the earth, and it was like an acupuncture point, a major acupuncture point. These energies were just pouring and pouring, and you could feel it spreading out through the land. So it's, you know, you've got Chequers there where you've got the Prime Minister, and there's this incredible wisdom that's to do with England coming in. It'd be nice to connect it up, really. But anyway, and it's, you know, I realise there is really an archetypal energy to the Arthur legends, really. And this was that kind of energy that backs up that noble kind of guidance for a country was pouring in the top of that hill. And it started off as these 12 or 13 light blue beings, and they had a bit more of a male quality just pouring in. And then it just turned to light. It just turned to this transcendent blue, sparkling light pouring in to Beacon Hill. And Beacon Hill's like a woman. She was just rising up to it, and it was just pouring in. And I just sat. It was amazing. Just poured in and poured in and poured in. And then after half an hour or so, it just came to a natural type conclusion. And then after that, the same as the activation from the Dell, it was never that orgasmic thing again, but it was always there just working. Then whenever I went to Beacon Hill, that was just there working. You don't have to do this big thing, it's just going. And it was quite interesting because that was very much, and from the activation of the day, it was very much these higher energies pouring in, and they was pouring. And that was at the winter solstice. I noticed last summer solstice when I went up there, it was much more the energies rising and leaving. So there's a male and female in the site there, but there's also a male and female between the solstice. For me, the winter solstice has a more female quality, receiving from the heavens, and in the summer solstice has a more male quality and energies going back up to the heavens. And last summer solstice I went there, and it was just very bright and more energy leaving. And then after making these pictures and showing that little gatehouse down there, I went yesterday. And the same thing, it's the lower energies rising. But this time what I'd like to do is we just do that activation. You can just visualize that activation, then it opens it for you. I have little doubt it is also helping activate it in Chequers. And it's good to watch these videos, and these particular ones, I feel it's quite good to do an opening at the beginning and a closing at the end, let the energies go off. We'll do it for this whole session. We obviously opened it and we're going to finish it, but the videos are separate little ones, so to do a little opening at the beginning and a little saying goodbye to the energies at the end of each one if you watch them. So let's do that then. So dropping into the holographic breathing. First of all, imagine yourself on Coombe Hill. It has a strong, bright, white energy, kind of a male quality, and looking over to Beacon Hill, but also be aware to connect the whole ridgeway right through Chequers, right in front of the house at Chequers, and up to Beacon Hill, and back down the stem to the pond at the base of Chequers. Notice when you do that, it starts working. The site starts working. It starts working in yourself. You become the chalice. You view the chalice, and those energies start working in you. You make the hand mudra of the chalice, and those energies start working in you. But if you just view it, and if you view it on this scale at Chequers, that starts working at Chequers and it starts working in you. We are like the key. We fit into the lock. The earth communicates with the heavens and we communicate with it as well, and something sets off. So you can feel that whole chalice looking out from Coombe Hill over to Beacon Hill. Chequers will be off to the left, and then the stem will run down further to the left. And now you can make your way around. So you're coming around through the dell, through Chequers, and up to Beacon Hill. Sitting on the front of Beacon Hill, looking over to Coombe Hill. Now Chequers will be to your right, connecting up through Chequers, rather than Chequers being private, connecting through Chequers also down the stalk to the pond at Chequers, and then you end up with this vessel. Allowing those energies to work on yourself and in the whole chalice. And you're sitting on the rim of this circle. It's about 15 meters across, right at the front of Beacon Hill, and just being aware of your back where you're sitting onto that circle. You might suddenly feel as the energies there have been activated, there's this thing going off behind you, these energies rising and these energies dropping. It's kind of as if you're facing the wrong way. And then you look around, you see the ring. You work to the back of the rim so you're facing north. Coombe Hill will be to your right, Chequers will be behind you, and the pond behind you. And in front of you you've got this circle, which is the portal or the port where the higher energies are coming in at the front of Beacon Hill. So you can just sit there, connect to the earth at Beacon Hill. It's already a higher energy there, still connected to the earth. She has a very female energy, and there's this 12 or 13 higher beings just pouring into the top of this hill, into this whole circle. It's not just a bit in the middle. The whole circle is taken up by these higher energies just pouring down like a waterfall into the top of the hill, these higher beings. And they're truly benevolent, whatever that word is, energies or beings, truly wise and transcendental, with a kind of a purpose, or for me at the time was a energy for healing Britain or this land, or governing, helping a spiritual governance, combination of energies just pouring in right in front of you. And you can connect to the earth. You can also connect to the whole chalice. You're right at the front of the prayer. You're at the top of the fingers with the prayer position, and you're at the top left hand rim of the chalice. But you can feel back down the chalice, and you can feel back down the prayer and both sides of the prayer. In front of you there's this wonderful energy pouring into the hill, and you are allowing that and being with that. You can connect to the earth through your pelvis, through your sit bones. And you can allow these energies to pour down into the earth. Somehow, by you being there, is allowing these energies to pour down into the earth. This isn't a ring you're going to want to sit on in. It's a ring you sit at the edge of, because it just fills with these energies coming. Just allowing that, and allowing yourself to connect to the earth. And the whole chalice there, and the prayer. Notice there's both, the prayer and the chalice. The male and the female. You're very much at the higher female edge, but it drops back down to the heart, down to the hara, down to the pelvis, down to the earth. And there's a whole beauty and potency of Beacon Hill, receiving this intelligence, this healing energy for the earth, for this land. Just allow yourself to allow that to heal the earth. Relax your spine, gently doing the holographic breathing. Notice how different it feels to when we were in the Dell. The Dell's this much deeper, darker earth energy. Up there on Beacon Hill, it's much more spiritual. But you have to connect back down to the Dell, back down to the earth, or deep, deep down into Beacon Hill. These truly benevolent energies and beings pouring into the top of Beacon Hill, and they're just spreading out through the land as a healing for the whole land, for the whole earth. I think this is an acupuncture point for the earth. And breathe and allow. Allow that healing to happen. And as that's happening in the earth, just you allowing it is healing you. Breathing. However it's happening, it's happening. It may not just be higher energies come in, you might also start feeling lower energies transcending out. Just in this very first activation, it was the higher energies coming in, but you may also feel energies, earth energies transcending out, or rising from your pelvis up through your body. A truly benevolent shaft of blue light, about 15 meters across, pouring down into the top of the hill. Connect your pelvis, the earth in yourself, your legs, your pelvis. Connect to the prayer, connect to the chalice, and just let it happen. Let that site activate, let that site be healed, and it spreads through the whole land. The healing, the governance, the natural, rightful, spiritual governance for this land. Allow that energy to come in and breathe. Deep healing. The earth is rising up to it. It's like lovers. You've got the male and the female. You've got the earth and the heavens. It's love making. They're connecting together. And at the solstices, this is strong. So whatever's happening, allowing that to happen. And when you feel ready, gently allowing yourself to come back. Well, should we do a closing, and we will book in more Chequers ones, maybe even do it at Chequers. I'll leave you to turn that off. I don't know how to do it. Okay. So, closing your eyes and dropping into the holographic breathing. And sending a thank you to the earth. And a thank you to the higher self. And a thank you to yourself. And letting the energies go off for love and healing to the earth. For love and healing to the higher self. For love and healing to yourself. And out to all sentient beings for love and healing. And you are a sentient being, allowing yourself to be loved and healed. Okay. So in holographic breathing, there's a gentle motion of the jaw. Jaw opens on the in-breath, closes on the out-breath, and it's a small motion. And people find their own amount, and it varies over a period of time, but it's not big, maybe 3 or 4 millimeters, quarter of an inch, sometimes less. And on the same time as you're doing that, the lips are closed all of the time, and the upper surface of the tongue is on the roof of the mouth, and as much as feels comfortable. And quite often when people are learning, and a bit later, people are used to opening the jaw and the lips open at the same time. So the lips open, or they open the jaw and the tongue comes off the roof of the mouth. But there's an innate ability, probably from suckling, that the lips can stay sealed, not tense, in a relaxed way, that they can stay closed in a relaxed way and the jaw can move, and the tongue can have a relaxed and soft seal to the roof of the mouth as the jaw moves. I'll just demonstrate so people can see that it really is a very subtle movement of the jaw. So I'll just do just for a few moments. So and very quickly you drop into an alternative state, kind of a shamanistic, very relaxed place. So we're going to go through some exercises, but this time with our eyes open. First of all, to get that seal on the lips, notice you can kind of purse your lips. You can, it goes in here, and the lips stay closed. Try that a few times. You can drop the jaw and the lips stay closed. And now also put the tongue on the roof of the mouth and pull the jaw down. And notice it's like you get a suction with the tongue as the jaw drops down. So you can make a seal, and that is very similar to what babies do. Their lips seal around the nipple in a relaxed way, and the tongue seals the nipple to the roof of the mouth. So we can make a a seal, a natural ability to making seal. But now doing that in a very relaxed way with a much smaller motion of the jaw. So the lips are relaxed with a light seal, the flat of the tongue on the roof of the mouth with a very relaxed seal, and now just in a small way, or however big, opening the jaw. The lips stay sealed, the tongue stays on the roof of the mouth, the jaw closes, the lips stay sealed, the tongue stays on the roof of the mouth. Now make that movement a bit smaller. And now it's a bit like a pump. Notice as you're opening the jaw, it's natural to breathe in through your nose. As your jaw drops down, it's like a little pump. It brings the air in through the nose. Then as the jaw rises, it's like a pump. The breath comes out through the nose. So just being with that, and make the movement smaller. The jaw opens, you breathe in through the nose. The jaw closes, you breathe out through the nose. The tongue stays on the roof of the mouth. The lips stay closed with a very light seal. And now turning that round, so rather than the focus being on the jaw, you change the emphasis. Be aware of the breath coming in through your nose, and as the breath comes in, the jaw gently opens. Then as the breath comes out, the jaw gently closes. And notice how that takes the pressure away from the jaw. It becomes much more relaxed when you have the emphasis on the breath. So as you're breathing in, the jaw gently opening, the lips still have this very natural light seal, the tongue has a very natural light seal. Then as you breathe out, the jaw naturally closes. And notice there's a lot of people already closing their eyes and going into an altered state. Notice you start feeling very relaxed, and it's hard to keep your eyes open. You're drifting into a different state. As you breathe in, the jaw naturally opens with it. As you breathe out, the jaw naturally closes. And smaller, slower motion of the jaw, the lips stay relaxed and closed, the tongue stays on the roof of the mouth. Relax the back of the neck, relax the back of the head. Notice it gets harder and harder to actually do it and keep the eyes open, because you're drifting into a different state of consciousness. And it's good to relax the back of the neck and the back of the head, because a lot of the energy is coming through there. Now letting the eyes close, and if you want, let the eyes close, just naturally being with that. As you breathe in, the jaw is gently opening. As you breathe out, the jaw gently closing. Notice how natural that feels. You get these waves of energy, waves of relaxation moving through your body. Very soft, relaxed seal in the lips, very soft, relaxed seal in the tongue. It's the upper surface of the tongue on the roof of the mouth. The tip of the tongue is close to or touching the front teeth. Maybe half an inch or an inch of the tongue on the roof of the mouth. The more you do, the more of the tongue naturally starts covering the roof of the mouth. But to start off with, whatever feels most comfortable. Notice you go into this place that's halfway between being awake and being asleep. It's like the dream state. It's a very shamanistic space. It feels very natural. Relax the throat. As you breathe in, the chest is opening, the jaw is opening. As you breathe out, the chest is closing, the jaw is closing. As you breathe in, the abdomen is opening, the jaw is opening. As you breathe out, the abdomen is closing, the jaw is closing. You may be able to feel it right down into the pelvis. So breathing in, the pelvis is opening, the jaw opening. As you breathe out, the pelvis closing, the jaw closing. But also notice in a very subtle way, the whole face has started to breathe. This gentle motion of the jaw connects through every cell, through every part of us, and it especially connects up through the face, through the brain, through the cranium, through the neck, through the throat, connects it to the rest of the body. And this whole area that wasn't really breathing so much before, in a very subtle way starts to open and close with the breath. And it's not a physical thing you're aiming for, it's very subtle. The more subtle you do it, the stronger, more profound the experience is. And as the jaw closes, it's okay for the teeth to touch, but they just float together. There's no pressure, they're not resting and pressing together. They may just bounce around, gently touching a tiny bit. Or the jaw can just be slightly separate as you breathe out. Breathing in, the jaw gently opens with the breath. Breathing out, the jaw relaxes closed. It relaxes open and it relaxes closed. You drop into a deep, shamanistic, alternative space, a channel. But it's your own channel, it's you, your energies, connecting with the earth, connecting with the higher self, which are reflections of you, very resourceful, very nutritious on all levels. Okay, and gently allowing yourself to come back.